From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon as the Dow and the U.S. economy takes a tumble on Friday as the Consumer Price Index number released, and it shocked the waves out of American economists and also consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment dropping dramatically overnight as a consumer CPI number released on Friday, and it showed inflation was a lot higher. That is why it's important to get that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. There is a forced stimulus check now in every U.S. state. We're going to go over those incredible checks in the second half of this recording. That Consumer Price Index number released on Friday was gangbusters, out of control, much higher than expected, and it sent stocks into a tumble down. We'll have the latest details on the stock market crash of 2022. We'll then be going over to consumer sentiment as it fell dramatically to the lowest levels we've seen since COVID. These numbers on Friday were so dramatically poor and weak and troubling that it says that the Federal Reserve will be coming in more aggressively with those Fed hikes in the next few weeks. Well, the latest details on that front as well. Meantime, we have a lot of analysts giving wrong analysis about where this economy is and where it's heading. I'll go over some of that wrong analysis today additionally. When we talk about stimulus checks, there's a series of new reports out talking about those stimulus checks of first and second and why they particularly were, for some, maybe not good news. Well, the analysis of what the difference of stimulus versus stimulus checks are in today's recording, and the great news for you as a forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Then we'll be turning back to the Federal Reserve and that CPI number released on Friday, and why, when you have an 8.5% year-to-date adjusted basis number, that is a very big news, and why this could be the pivotal change of what's happening this year. Next, we go, of course, over to the situation happening with gasoline. As the gasoline prices are now at the highest levels ever recorded on this channel, $5 domestic unleaded, and the international Brent crude at $123. Does the White House have a plan? What is Biden's price response to the situation today? And what did Janet Yellen say about Joe Biden's response to the situation as well? From the shores of Santa Monica, California, it's a big day, and it's very hot outside as well. For June 11th, 2022. Thank you for joining me on Afternoons LALATE. We have a lot of major financial news breaking today. And for the shores of Santa Monica, California, let's get to it. Let's get those forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. And Step 3, get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, because later in this recording, we're going to go over those incredible checks in every U.S. state. Become a member right now, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP, and sit back, because over this big broadcast of 1 hour, we have a lot of money to get you, and it starts right now. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you have had a beautiful weekend. It is June 11th, 2022, with a brand new broadcast today for Afternoons LALATE, and it's a big day with a lot of major news you need to know that impacts your wallet, impacts where this economy is going, and impacts the future of this administration. We have a big day, and we have a lot of money to go over. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. And Step 3, get that membership newsletter that delivers the information about those forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. As we go into an afternoon's broadcast today, we have a lot of major developing details on so many fronts, and I gotta tell you, once again, my predictions came in true. A week ago today, I said this last Friday would be one of the most pivotal days for reporting for financial news of the month and potentially the summer. And boy, was it ever. On Friday, the Consumer Price Index number was released, as I had been talking with you about for the last 2 weeks. And I said I wanted to see this number. I said this was going to be a big number. What do we know going into this number? We knew that the number came in at expectations right around the money, right on the money. It would be fine. We understood if the number came in lower, it would be great news. And we understood if it came higher, it would spook the markets. What is the number? Again, let's go over what this number is. It's a consumer price index, the CPI. There's that, and there's the PPI, the producer price index. But the CPI always comes first and is more indicative of the inflationary environment in the United States. And we wanted this number to come in at the money at predictions or a little bit less. But as Art Hogan had said last week, if it comes higher, get ready to get spooked. And we didn't get spooked. We got the socks scared off of us, as the number was astronomically horrific, through the roof. The Consumer Price Index number released on Friday was just jaw-droppingly shocking. And how bad was it? Let's go over the details and then we go over the reaction. The number came in at 8.5% year to date. That's annualized basis, compared to an estimate of what Wall Street is expecting, 8.4. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. When you do the core CPI, yeah, that number was a little bit less, but that's not what people are looking at. Let's look at the analysis right off the bat. Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate, says the ugly trend of inflation is why the Federal Reserve is likely to hike interest rates by a half basis point in May and begin letting the portfolio run off. The Fed will be pressing firmly on the brake pedal, not just pumping the brakes in an effort to bring inflation right back down. There was so much that came from the spook of this number on Friday in so many regards. Let's go over all the analysis starting right now. When that inflation number came in for that CPI on Friday of 8.5%, the first reaction was consumer confidence. Consumer confidence in the new report on Friday signaled that U.S. consumer confidence, which is so important for everything in this economy, you're the people spending, was dropped to the lowest level since COVID start. Unbelievable that this economic environment is now going to be far worse than anything I had with you as a family back in 2020. This channel launched because of COVID. This channel launched because of the economic turmoil of COVID. But now, here we are. The economic environment right today, whatever you call it, whether you call it inflation or the looming recession, whatever you call it, or economic downturn or dropping GDP, is going to be worse than what you and I endured in 2020. And here is what I had already told you was going to be happening about 2 weeks ago. That Americans, you and I, and even the most sophisticated financial investors, sometimes don't even know what to call this environment. And that is really very important what's happening today. When that number came in with CPI on Friday, the American consumer in a series of new polls said, recession has already arrived. It hasn't arrived. But that's what's important, is that recession is basically seen as sort of the cancer of the economy. And when you see the economy really getting very sick, you call it recession. And it's not as bad as recession, because recessions could be a lot worse than we are right now. But the American consumer believes we are in a recession right now, based upon those numbers from Friday. So they actually think it's worse, because they get confused with the terms, and that's how I tell you, don't get confused with the terms. They think it's worse than it actually is. It's just beginning. Let's go over the analysis that starts today. The Build Back Better Act is a series of provisions put together as a wonderful piece of legislation that is currently in the Senate and will get passed in the next few weeks. That would give you additional forced stimulus checks on the top of the forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Let's take a step back. Back in the month of March, when you and I felt the financial pressure of this economy, viewers of this channel said to me, LA, can you find me a stimulus check? And I did. I found you a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state, not just one, but lots of them. And they're still paying out, and they're paying out enormous sums of money, upwards of $85,000. Single individual, married couple, with children, without children. On benefits, not on benefits. Yes, up to $85,000. It's unlike first, it's unlike second, and it's unlike third stimulus. It's actually a lot better. It's coming up later in this recording. Now, the Build Back Better Act proposes to give you additional checks on top of that. And that Build Back Better Act is currently in the Senate with negotiations underway between Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer to give you additional checks on top of that. The thing that supports the passage of the Build Back Better Act is this: bad economic news. And here was the reaction and the impact of that bad, horrific economic news that came in on Friday from that CPI. First, stocks fell sharply. The stock market crash of 2022 certainly just underway. The stock market really took a massive hit on Friday, down 880%, 880 points, or down 2.7%, and the S&P fell about 3% for the day. The NASDAQ was down about a little bit under 4% for the day. When you look at the individual shares, Apple fell 4% for the day. Microsoft and Dow down 4.5% and 6.1%, and Amazon fell by more than 5%. The wrong analysis immediately came in, and that wrong analysis example today is from Lori Cavalisi at RBC Capital Markets. She said that inflation has been the driving force bringing stocks lower this week. Does it sort of force equities to stay at the bottom range it's in? Question mark, perhaps. But I don't think this is enough to force it down to new lows. Wrong. Of course, it has everything to push it down to no lows. These inflation numbers will push those equities, those stocks down even lower. Why? Consumer confidence. Consumer confidence is gone. Everyone and their sister and their brother despises this economy, and they don't think it's going to get better. Number two, the average investor is confused by the terminology because it's very complicated. They think it's recession, it's inflation, and they think it has started. They think the bloodbath has already started. So for her to say that the CPI number is not going to keep numbers getting lower for stocks, untrue. We're just getting started, and we're going into recession, even if you don't understand that analysis. In a bear market where we are right now, you're down 26% for the overall situation of the market. We're going down 48%. Yeah, that's how serious it is, and that's why that's our wrong analysis quote of the day from Lori Cavalisa. Now let's look at oil up, tech down, and retail down. The week ended with oil stocks dramatically up, for obvious reason, and tech stocks down dramatically and retail down. Tech continued to struggle. Meantime, there was a downgrade for Netflix, another 5% by Goldman Sachs. Nvidia slipped 6%, and then shares of the banks were down as well. Goldman down 5%, Boeing down 5%, Wells Fargo down 6%. Are stimulus checks bad? A new report out today talks about the discussion of stimulus checks. Now, I don't think that report really went viral. I don't think anyone really saw it. But I want to make something very clear to you, is that so the very first day of March 2020, there's been a very big debate on what you call individual provisions. Is this a check? Is this not a check? Is this a check? Is this not a check? Is it a stimulus check? Is it a stimulus? Is it a stimulus package? A stimulus check? You and I have always understood we're not going to get hung up on those words. If someone gives you $150,000 from the federal government, and it's not, you didn't have $150,000 before the day before, who cares what it's called? It's stimulus. And later in this video, I have for you stimulus checks. You can call them banana boats. You can call them banana bread. You can call them zucchini boats. I don't care what you call them. I got you checks later in the recording. You can call them checks because they are checks. They don't come by wads of dollar bills or coins. Yeah, they're checks or direct deposits. Stimulus direct deposits. Is that a new expression? I don't care about these new reports that say, what about those checks? Yeah, they're just very bad reports that don't have a lot of analysis. Now, let's go back to the impact of the Build Back Better Act with this economic data. The economic data, and you're going to hear a change of a tone by me in the next few weeks on this channel. The change of the tone by me is not a negative tone. It's just sort of a realistic tone. What am I getting at? Joe Biden's not going to be back. I mean, Joe Biden's not going to be back. The Democrats are going to lose the Congress. They're absolutely going to lose the Congress in the midterm elections. The economy's going in the tank. The economy's going in the tank, and none of these Democrats are getting anything lined up to fix this economy. So you think they're going to be back? No, of course not. I mean, it's just, this is not pro this or pro anti that. I just want to tell you how that impacts legislation. So the Build Back Better Act, of course, is a piece of legislation they want to get done before the midterm elections. Get it done today while you have control of the Congress. Yeah. The Democrats are not going to have control of the Congress next year based upon the path of trajectory that they're dealing with right now. And that is why the Build Back Better Act is that additional wad of money that you hope to get on top of these stimulus checks I have for you in every U.S. state. There's about $15,000 to $80,000 of four stimulus checks in the Build Back Better Act across 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. We're going to go over each of those tonight in Evening Delight in prime time. But let me go back to the other part that supports the Build Back Better Act and its impact, of course, on your SS300. Remember what SS300 is? It's the ability to get your benefits raised $300 more per month. I know I use a lot of shortened expressions on this channel. If you're a new viewer, you're like, what is that? Someone last night said, what's a dancing bear? Yeah, so I'm trying to remind myself to explain things. SS300 is basically the concept of raising your benefits up $300 more per month. If you're on Social Security, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Veterans Benefits, RB, we'll be going over more about that in a second. When that consumer price index number was released on Friday, that showed that year to date we went up 8.5%. I mean, it's just shocking compared to 8.4%. The reaction came in, and here was the reaction. And Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate. The ugly trend inflation is why the Federal Reserve is likely to put the foot on the brake pedal, not pump the brake. I agree. Great quote. Then, impact on consumer sentiment. It is now worse. Consumer sentiment now is worse in June 2022 because of the economy than it was in March of 2020 because of the economy with COVID. It just reinforces the impact that the CPI has on consumer psyche. We now guess it's going to have a negative future on consumer spending. We guess. You don't have to guess. It's already there. That's a quote from Peter Bukovar at Bleakley Advisor Group. It's a shocking number. That's what inflation does when it's going red hot as it is. The impact on the yields is very clear. That yields is very important. What are yields? Bonds. Bond yields. I'll go over why they're important for you in a second. Let me give you the number. When that news came in with the CPI on Friday, the 10-year Treasury yield jumped 3% on Friday to its highest levels of 2008. Why do you need to know those numbers? Why do you need to know yields are going up, bond yields? Because that's how much your debt costs. You have credit card debt, it's going to go up. You have car loans, it's going to go up. You have credit, you have any type of debt that's paid on a flexible interest rate, it's going to go up. And that is caused by Friday's event. Now, the other part of the equation when you look at all this today is, of course, the price of gasoline. This price of gasoline today is the highest level ever reported on the history of this channel. It is now exactly what I told you it was going to be, but it's just getting started. Yeah, it's going to get worse. The price of gasoline is now at an average of $5 unleaded domestic, according to AAA. 5,004 as of today, June 11th. Now, it's very hard to find $5 anywhere, at least here in Los Angeles. It's pushing almost $8. That's up $3 from a year ago. My goodness. Mark Zandy says, my calculation, typical household is spending about $160 more on gas a month than a year ago. I'm going to call that another wrong quote of the day. I think the average household is paying about $160 more a week. In England, we learned that it costs $160 to fill up a car. So I think it's a far more worse situation than he's describing. Gas Buddy, which is a great website, and its head is Patrick DeHaan, says I don't think we're far away. I don't think this would. I think we're going to get worse. Biden's response to the situation, I'm going to be going over later in this recording. He talks about price gouging, and and Janet Yellen speaks about the situation as well. What's going on with that? Then we'll be looking over to student loan debt forgiveness for a blink of an eye, and then we'll be going back to this whole economy as a whole, and I'll be going over the analysis of why things today are very, very, very more defined than they were 2 days ago. It's a whole different universe this weekend than it was last week. I'll explain to you why. The good news is you. Because you asked and I supplied. You requested and I provided. Your request, LA, March 2022. Find me a forced stimulus check at every U.S. state. Find me any check. Find me as many checks as you can for as much eligibility as you can and deliver it quickly. And I did. And those are the checks that are coming up later in this recording. If you're a member, you're going to be able to get these checks even easier. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. There's a link under this video. You don't want to miss a video on this channel because this is the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, soon to be number 2. Next, you want to make sure that you become a member. The link is under the video. Purple Hawk Pro Power Casino VIP to get that incredible newsletter. What is the newsletter? The newsletter features the state of this U.S. economy updated daily for you, Monday through Friday. Then also features where the gas, the corn, the wheat prices are. You need to know them. It's going to be increased and advanced even more, the newsletter, over the next year. And it also has those stimulus checks in every U.S. state in the newsletter. You go in there and you apply. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Eligibility, let's do that right now. You generally qualify. Single individual, $75,000 or less annual income, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less annual income, go get it. If you're a family of 4, go get it. If you're on benefits, go get it. SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, RB, go get it. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, go get it. If you only have a cell phone, go Get it. It's coming up in the second half of the video. I'm so excited you're here. In the second half of this video, we're also going to go over more about the situation with these gas comments and a new analysis you've never seen before on this channel, as it's very, very pronounced and clear what's going on with this economy. And now it's also pronounced and very clear what the reaction by the consumer is to this economy. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Go under the video right now. Step 2, become a member. The membership link is where the video has the title. It says join here, join the channel. Join and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Stay with me in the second half of this video. We're going to go over all this financial news and why this economy's status right today may look bad, but is actually going to be a lot worse. All that data and more as we go into the big second half and the issue with the gasoline as well. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page as Afternoons LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now for a beautiful day here in Santa Monica, California. Hope you're doing well. It's June 11th, 2022, and it's Afternoons LA, America's most loved show at midday. Tonight is Evenings LA with a brand new show. You don't want to miss it because we have a lot of major breaking news coming up tonight. It's a prime time. It's at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and I look forward to seeing you during that broadcast as well. The U.S. state of this economy tonight, or this afternoon, depending on what time zone you're watching the show right now, is getting bad, and it's going to be a lot worse in a few more months. Back in February, I said that the U.S. economy by September will be in a full storm, and that storm is out to sea. That storm is out to sea, and whether you call it recession or downturn of the economy or it's increasing inflation, it's going to be really bad by September. Earlier last week, Jamie Dimon, head of J.P. Morgan Chase, one of the most beloved analysts in the American economy, said the exact words of me. He said that there's a hurricane down the road. I was saying a storm out to sea. He says about to touch land. I said the same exact words. His comments come 3 months after mine, and the narrative is the same. Get ready. Get ready. Now, here is what he and I both really didn't read accurately. Consumer sentiment, consumer confidence. I had thought that consumers may get confused by terminology, but I did not think they would get confused by terminology so quickly in June. I thought the confusion would start maybe later this year. Recession, inflation, downturning economy. What is it called? What is it called? I didn't think they were going to be focused so much on it. Oh boy, they are. Consumer confidence has now plummeted overnight because people think the recession has already started. It hasn't, but the downward of the economy has. And that is why Jamie Dimon and you and I both spoke about this storm out to sea or hurricane down the road coming in September. Many people think it's now here. It isn't. It's going to be a lot worse. And then in January of next year, it's going to be worse thereafter. That's why you have to get this 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. This 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state, you're only going to hear on LALATE. It's not just one. It's lots of checks. You qualify. And it's done in a totally different way than you may have thought previous stimulus packages were done. In the case of the first stimulus package, you had to do certain things to get checks, big checks. If you didn't want to do anything, you got a measly check, less than $1,000. If you wanted to get a big check under the third stimulus package, you had to do something. Otherwise, you're going to get a few $100s. Do you want $150,000 or a few $100s? Of course you want $150,000. And that is the difference. What I've learned with you as a family is when big checks are delivered, it gives you financial independence. In the month of March, when you asked for those big checks, thank goodness you did, because at that point, we didn't know how severe this economy was going to be downturning. And with that, let's go to those incredible checks right now. They are lettered for you by me. This is a lettering system only featured on this channel, so this is between you and I, how we letter them. They're not referred to this naming system anywhere else except here. But let's look at these incredible checks. The first one I call Check A. That incredible Check A is absolutely huge. It is $6,500 to $12,000. It is a forcible check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you're on benefits, go get it. It is astronomical. $6,500 to $12,000. How long would $12,000 cover your bills? Probably a while, right? A couple months. How do you get it? Step one, become a member. Become a member under the video where it says join here. Step two, go down in that membership newsletter delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, to where you find Check A. And then when you find Check A, you click the link and you pounce. Apply. It'll send you into the nationwide website, then choose your state, then choose the homeowner's weatherizing grant check, and pounce. There you go. $6,500 to $12,000 with a routing time of about a week. But you're not going to stop there yet. You're going to go get Check B. When was the last time someone got you $80,000 of stimulus? Maybe not since first stimulus package. Yeah. Maybe not since late 2020. So this is astronomical. Viewers on average of this channel are getting $66,000 to $80,000. It's a forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you're on benefits, go get it. It's called the homeowner's grant check. And how huge is it? It is astronomical. Step one, subscribe. Step two, become a member. Step three, go down that membership newsletter. To where you find Check B, click the link on Check B and go right in and apply. Yes, Check A and Check B are online applications. You can't pick up the phone and ask for it. You can't get it mailed to you. You got to do it online. It's an online application process. And you're going to pounce and you're going to do those incredible checks. But you're not going to stop there yet. Of course not. I got more checks for you. Of course we do. And they are Check C. It's huge. Check C has been on the round on this channel since December 2020, and it's astronomically wonderful. It is a monthly stimulus check on average, $2,000 over 12 months. That's $24,000. But many viewers have gotten $45,000 on average. A lot of viewers have gotten over $100,000. It is for renters. Yes, for other people like homeowners as well. And what are these incredible checks? Well, let's look at the history of these checks. These checks date back to December 2020 on this channel. I first started getting them for the viewers of this channel. And that was when the thick of the pandemic was here. No one was helping them. They said, LA, can you help me? Can you find me some money? Second stimulus is not done. And I look high and low and I found that money for that rent and utilities. Then I had an exclusive piece of legislation that was proposed for the next year. And I said, if it become a law, then guess what? You're going to have the skill set on how to pounce and get these huge checks if it becomes law, because now you've learned how to do it. And boy, it became law. And when it became law, I said you can get about $15,000. Viewers on average got about $45,000. Yes, $45,000. Big success stories from viewers day in, day out. And they understood the importance of getting big pots of money. And the numbers just kept on coming in larger and larger and larger from viewers. What were some of the success stories and how big were they? Let's look at some of the success stories right now. The success stories featured individuals who were getting $20,000 to $30,000 for rent, $15,000 to $30,000 for SNAP, getting upwards of utilities of monster sums of money, and then getting combo items. Getting combo items of huge amounts that brought them over $50,000. Yes, that is what viewers of this channel did at the time, and that's what they continue to do across the board. Here we go. Here is the numbers for rent. Here are the numbers for utilities. Here are the numbers for SNAP. Here are the numbers for combo. Yeah, Nisi has kept on getting money. She's now over 50,000. She gets another $8,000 every few days from this channel. Here's Mark. He was at 32,000. Then he went to 50,000. Then he went to 100. Then he went to 166. Lorraine, she keeps on getting money every few days from this channel. She's now at over $120,000. You go into the membership newsletter for Chexie. You go right down to that membership newsletter, and then it tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. When you see that check it tells you where to go, who to say, and what to say, and who to call. Yes, in the case of check you're making phone calls as opposed to check A and B. Let's recap the details right now because I know that was a lot to digest. A fourth stimulus check is now in every U.S. state. Where was it? What happened? How did it get there? It was landed by Joe Biden by executive order and from the states. And those are what I call on this channel checks A, checks B, and checks C. Lots of monster checks. You're not going to see this anywhere else in the history of broadcasting right now because no one else cares about you like I do. No one shows you how to get money. And that's the difference of this channel. This channel gives you an analysis of where the economy is, where the economy is going, and how to get cash right today. I don't report the cash. I actually show you how to get the cash. That's the difference. As I've gotten viewers over $15 million since this channel launched, getting them items after items, program after program, minute, day after day, and I'll be getting you more programs in the weeks to come as well. That's what I do, and that's what we've done as a family. Now, here's what you also need to know when looking at the situation of the stimulus and looking at the situation of this U.S. economy. Early in this recording, I talked about the future of the Democrats and the Congress and the president coming into next year. Will the Democrats be in control of the Congress? Not based upon what they're doing right now. So do not expect Democrats to do a massive stimulus package next year because they're likely not to be in control of the Senate or the House. With Republicans, they'd likely do something for this recession or that recession in 2023. I'm reporting this could be 2 years of recession. But is it the type of stimulus package you're going to like? I don't know. Maybe it's just going to be a lot of business and small business loans and grants. I don't know. Maybe it won't be anything for the consumer. I don't know. And that is why you got to get cash on the comm. The Democrats are in control of the Congress until December 31st, 2022. After that, I don't really know. And what I'm making very clear to you today, in June 2022, in fact, it's not just starting today, I've been doing it since February, is that next year is going to be financial turmoil. Next year is going to make COVID's economic impact look like a walk in the park. If you thought COVID and lockdown in March of 2020 was horrible for your economy, horrible for your business, horrible for your consumer spending and your purchase of products, horrible for your benefits, the recession of 2023 is going to be 1,000% worse. Now, here is what I've been saying for you. In the last year and a half, my predictions on this channel have 100% come true on the money time after time again. I said that there was going to be massive inflation in December 2021 of 8%. No one else said that was going to happen. I got it right. Then I said the inflation was going to stay. No one else said that. I got it right. Then I said in February of this year, we're going into recession for 2 years starting in January 23. No one was even talking about recession. In February of 2022, I also said that by September, there's a storm out to sea, and the storm is going to come on land. And when it comes on land, you're going to get hit really badly. Then, 3 months later, this last week, Jamie Dimon repeats my comments as well. This is why you're watching this channel, because you not only are given the latest economic and financial news of the day, you're also given big analysis of where this market's going. And my analysis has been spot on time and time again, month after month. Now, what have I not been able to gauge is consumer confidence. I'm really shocked by consumer confidence today. That's something I really just generally don't cover on this channel, or let alone predict. But I'm shocked that consumers now believe that we're in a recession right now, and the consumer confidence has fallen so dramatically since the heydays of February this year to now the bleak situation of June 2022 that they now believe that they're in a downfall, the likes of COVID right now. They are, but it's not that bad. The bad part will be September. The worst part will start in January. And this is why it's important to understand why your approach, your view of the situation needs to be spot on. When I look at the state of this U.S. economy right now, the most obvious situation is gasoline. Back in back in March of 2020 of this year, 2022 of this year, when Putin invaded Ukraine, I said, okay, we have a gas situation. Got to deal with the gas situation. In fact, in October of last year, when there was 100,000 Russian troops at the Ukrainian border, I immediately before Halloween said, if Putin invades Ukraine, it's going to be the biggest economic story this year. And I hope everyone has everything ready to deal with the situation. Joe Biden at the time dispatched Janet Yellen to deal with the situation in gasoline in an analysis of October 2021 and told her, get something ready if Putin invades. Did the White House get something ready? No, they got nothing ready. They got nothing ready. Now it's far worse. By March of 2022, Putin invaded Ukraine. The White House still had no contingency plan ready to get the replacement oil for us. By March of 2020 or late March of 2022, the White House was advocating for the embargo of Russian oil. Correct, it should. But did the White House have anything lined up for the replacement oil? No. Do the Western allies? No. The production of gasoline in the United States, the Keystone Pipeline, none of that stuff would produce enough gasoline to replace the missing oil. Now, there's two parts of the situation that are very troubling for me to report to you today. First, the analysis of the numbers, and two, the delay. First, the analysis of the numbers. To get the gasoline replaced from Russia's oil embargo and the lack of production by OPEC Plus during those months of March and April, we need to get oil from somewhere else. Have we gotten the oil from somewhere else? No. Do we have any plans lined up? Sort of, but not really. I mean, plans lined up, meeting with someone, but not saying what you're meeting with. We don't have to do it just alone. We also have to have the Western allies do it. All of the countries, from the France to the United States, from the United States to Italy, from the United States to Germany, everyone has to get gasoline lined up at another source. Where? I mean, people say, Ella, you should run for president. Should I run for president of Germany? Chancellor of Germany? Should I run for president of Italy? What are these countries doing? They all had to get oil lined up from a replacement source the moment that Putin invaded Ukraine. They all knew they were going to ban Russian oil. So did they get an item lined up? No. I mean, they sort of talked about it. They attempted to get Iran. It fell apart. No one reached out to Venezuela. No one reached out to Brazil. No one really reached out to OPEC Plus. And now the White House is sending Joe Biden to meet with Saudi Arabia. When asked, are you doing a deal for oil with Saudi Arabia? The White House would not comment. Okay, why are you not commenting? You know, this is bad optics. The optics are you don't want to comment why you're going to Saudi Arabia for oil because there's human rights violations. Okay, so the results is where are you getting the oil from? There was time and time in the month of April where Janet Yellen appeared on broadcast media or her sub-secretaries at Treasury said, where are you going to get the oil from? We're talking to the U.S. producers to increase about what they're doing here. That's not enough oil. Let me make this clear again. There is not enough oil in the United States to pump, to refine, to import from the Keystone Pipeline. There's not enough oil to replace the Russian oil. You gotta get it from one of these monster countries like Venezuela and Brazil that do millions and millions of barrels a day. We don't do millions of barrels a day. We never could do millions of barrels a day. White House has no solution lined up. So there's the numbers. No solution lined up. Now, what do we have going into today? Now we have the strange, what the world are you talking about situation. The comments start from Joe Biden here in Los Angeles yesterday. He was asked about the price of gasoline, and what is his response? Exxon is price gouging. Okay, that doesn't solve the situation. Let me give you the quote, and then let me give you the analysis. Why don't you tell Exxon why are their profits so through the roof this quarter? Exxon's making more money than God this year. Okay, so the question is, Joe, where are you getting some gasoline from? Go talk to Exxon. Why are their profits so expensive? If you did that with your loved one and you asked a question and you got an unresponsive, deflective answer like that, what would you do? Here he's talking about the most important part of the U.S. economy right now, which is gasoline. Are you going to Saudi Arabia for oil? No comment. What are you going to do to get gasoline down? Why didn't you ask Exxon why they made so much money? really deflective, very unresponsive, very evasive. I mean, Joe, answer the simple question. Where are you getting the oil from? Now, let's go over part of the analysis of his comments. He believes that the reason that the price of gasoline is out of control in the United States is because this price gouging by the major companies, Exxon. True or false? I don't need you to answer the question. I have Janet Yellen to answer the question, the president's Treasury Secretary. False. She says demand and supply are largely driven by inflation, and she does not believe that the situation for the higher price of gasoline is being caused by that situation. The price cost margins have gone up in many sectors, but I don't think that's what's driving inflation. She does not believe that that it is not on corporate greed. Yellen specifically threw out Joe Biden's claims that corporate greed is what's driving up the higher price of gasoline in the United States. Exxon's mobile spokesperson, Casey Norman, says we've actually spoken to the White House about increasing production and not heard back. I've talked about that a lot. The Exxon has repeatedly said they would increase production and they would not reduce it across the board. Here's my takeaway today, and I'm going to go in a little bit deeper than I usually go. The problem with the administration right now is no one is doing anything with the downward spiral of the U.S. economy. It's literally nothing. I'm not embellishing. People always use the word nothing, anything, nowhere, and there is something. There's nothing. There's nothing going on in the administration to deal with the downward spiral of the U.S. economy. Who do I blame? Obviously, you have to bring the president because he's the guy in control. But I really blame Brian Deasy. I really blame Brian Deasy because Brian Deasy is the person the president has chosen to be the eyes and ears of all economic uncertainty. Brian Deasy met with executives at Exxon and Chevron, the companies I just spoke about, this last week, and when asked to discuss what happened at those meetings, they refused to even comment that the meetings occurred. Okay, so we have a major economic problem. It's gasoline. The president's sending Brian Deasy there. They're not admitting Brian Deasy's at a meeting. They will not tell you what happened at the meeting. They won't admit the meeting happened, and they won't tell you what was said at the meeting. The president's going to Saudi Arabia. They're not admitting why he's going to Saudi Arabia. Okay, this has got to stop, Joe. This has got to stop. If anyone sensible in their mind was in control of the Oval Office right now, this is what they would do. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. Let's just make it very simple. This is what I would do right now. I would immediately bring in a task force of economic advisors into the White House to immediately find a contingency plan to get problems solved. Today, I would get gasoline from one of those from one of those major producers, solidifying as a deal for all the Western allies. I get a deal with Venezuela. I get a deal with Iran. I get a deal with more of them. I get a deal with 2 or 3 of them. Get the deal signed and sealed within 30 days to increase production of gasoline internationally for us and the Western allies by 3.5 million barrels a day, and we're done. We solved the situation. We need 3.5 million barrels a day. Those countries have 3.5 million barrels a day. Go to them and buy the gasoline, and we're done. Not just for us, but for all the Western allies. Go and make the deal, and we're done. I pause for a simple reason, because I have no idea what the White House is doing here. Joe Biden, when he came in, understood that COVID was the major problem. So what did he do? He hired a really sophisticated, good guy that had dealt with pandemics before and said, we're not getting vaccines quick enough, fast enough, made and shipped and put in place where they need to go. So what do? They increased the production of the vaccines. They got deals with the pharmaceutical company, with the local mom and pop, the CVS's, the Walgreens, to get them into them right away so that they flooded the markets with vaccines and got a distribution, logistics, shipping situation solved. This is the same situation. You need the gasoline. You need to figure out the logistics, the distribution, the shipping. You need to do the deal. First, you need to go buy the gasoline. Then you need to get it shipped out and layered and delivered. You need a task force. You need an entire economic council to dedicate for this. Brian Deasy does not have the brain skills to do any of this stuff. He has no idea what he's doing. Janet Yellen, she obviously has not wanted to do it because she's been asked to do this since October 2020. That is the first situation. The second situation is supply chain disruption. Supply chain disruption. I don't want to hear from Joe Biden that he told the Port of Los Angeles to operate 24 hours a day, and that is a supply chain disruption solution. You did that in January. It hasn't worked. You got to do more. The ports, the the ports of calls, the ports of the shipping ports, the airports, the customs, the tariffs, the embargoes, those are all done by the White House. They can all be solved by executive order overnight. That's all supply chain disruption. That's all inflation. Jay Powell thinks he can get inflation down by raising interest rates. He can't. I mean, Joe, you know that. I've been saying it. You've been watching me. Now analysts are now repeating my comments that inflation is not coming down from Jay Powell. And what do you want Jay Powell to do? Just raise interest rates to 200,000%? That's not a solution. The solution rests at the White House to get supply chain disruption solved or improved, to get gasoline into our economy from those potential deals for Iran or Venezuela or Brazil solved. Anything that's being done? None of this is being done. And that's why it's so important for you to understand that as I sit here and I deliver you the financial news, I also need to tell you where we're going as an economy. And if this lack of inactivity in the White House continues for months on end, folks, it was back in February that it was April. It was back in April that I said, if this status of this economy continues in the month of May, we're going to recession. We're heading into the month of July, and now it is unsustainable. I said it was unsustainable for 30 days. It has now been sustained for 60 days. It's unsustainable now for 90 days. Imagine if you continue with the price of gasoline right as it is right now into December, how severe it's going to be. I've been reporting that the price of gasoline could go to $10 a gallon in the United States. Can you afford $10 a gallon? I've been reporting that the price of consumer goods could go even higher, that the price of non-refined oil could go higher. If you thought in December 2020, when you reached out to me and there was no stimulus package, that you needed help for your utilities bill because the heating oil was so expensive, in December 2020, in the thick of the pandemic when you're on lockdown, get ready for December 2022. Get a stimulus check. I got your stimulus checks. What are you waiting for? If I've not put fire under your feet, if you don't understand the state of this economy right now, if you don't understand the state of the economy of where it's going, if you think it's bad right now, you can't wait. You gotta get the money that's available today. Because guess what? If you don't get the money today, the viewers that become members in 3 months from now are going to take the money before you. Because there's not going to be unlimited sums. If this economy does get so bad, there's going to be a lot of people in need, and they're going to eat up every pot of money that's available, and you're going to be sitting around wondering, why did I wait? A forced stimulus check is now in every USA. Go get it. Step 1, become a member. Step 2, go into that membership newsletter right today. Go right down there and get that check A, B, and C. My cause of concern comes from love. Love is what drives focus. Love is what drives analysis. Love is what drives ambition, positivity. It's important to understand that you may be struggling right now. It's going to be a lot worse in September. It's going to be a lot worse in January next year. There's money right now, $80,000 stimulus checks. What are you doing? Go get them. Go get them right now. Because if you don't, they're going to be gone. They will be gone. And then you're going to come back in December of this year when the heating oil's through the roof. The prices are going to be unsustainable. You're going to wonder, where is the money? It's going to be the end of the year. The nonprofits will be out of funds. And you'll be wondering, what do you got? Don't do that to yourself. That's why I plead with you. Please go get this money. And my job for you is to continue to find money, as I will. Become a member, stay a member. And over the next few hours, we're going to have more broadcasts on this channel going over more about these incredible details. Tonight is Evening to LATE at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you then. Then we have a major show tonight, continuing with overnight's show, our live feed that starts at about 5:30 tonight as well. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. Become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll see you tonight on Eden's LA. As America's most loved show continues, it's LALATE. See you throughout the day.